Today's guest is a stand-up comedian, filmmaker, and podcaster. You might know him from the Friendly Fire podcast or his new medieval sketch comedy show, Off With Their Heads. Please give it up for my friend, Mr. Josh Francis.
No, it's totally fine. I'm just a total loser with nothing going on.
Well, Josh Francis, thank you for coming on the pod,
Dude,
buddy.
thank you for having me.
Okay, like I said at the beginning of every podcast, this isn't a podcast where we're going to go over like general stuff or get like, why are you interested in comedy? This is just like inside baseball. Let's talk about how you make the stuff you make.
Okay, hell yeah.
Off With Their Heads, man.
Yeah.
That's a big project.
Yeah, man. Okay. So if you haven't, which you haven't, let's be honest, none of you listening have seen, you don't even know who I am. Josh Francis Comedy on Instagram.
They know that, I mean, a lot of these people might be some of this is bad
Some of this is
listeners,
bad?
and they know that you have a dump truck.
Yeah, they know I got a wagon, and then they make fun of me for
You
wearing
can pull
white.
the mic a little bit further.
Yeah, I'll get out of their faces with it. Yeah, and then they get mad at me for wearing white T-shirts on. I mean, some of the comments I've been getting lately on the pod.
What's wrong with a white T-shirt?
I don't know, but a gay man told me that I need to stop wearing white T-shirts, and I went, I'll never wear one. If a gay man tells me not to wear a white T-shirt, I'll burn every white T-shirt I own.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's like that's the what happened. I don't know what happened, but I know that something happened when I wore that white T-shirt that
it pissed them off.
Yeah, it made the gay man angry, and then I don't want other gay men to be angry because they're the honest men. They're honest.
Yeah.
Because they have nothing. They're not. Whatever. Anyways, what were we talking about?
Off with their heads.
Off with their heads. Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So it's a medieval. The way that we're pitching it, sort of. We haven't really done any of it. We did Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna yip yap about this because we've sort of done nothing the right way.
Yeah.
Right. So like, normally what you'd want to do, you know, when you're creating a series, or like a web series or whatever, you want to do like a treatment. You want to be like, hey, you know, like have you talked about your guys' project at all?
Not really, no.
Okay, so I won't then. But
No,
then
you're more than welcome to.
okay.
This is more about me interviewing people. I don't really talk a lot about
so
myself.
like if you're like, well, you're like, I mean, I don't know. It might be a bad example then because if it hasn't came out and they don't know because you haven't talked about it. But like our show is about two squires. It's like sort of like. I just been describing it as like kind of like South Parky, but like South Park meets like Family Guy in the sense of like the cutaways are like the thing that drive the story. If like an absurd cutaway, so it's very Family Guy-esque in the sense of like what we'll do. Spencer Cavins and I will create a scenario of like, you know, that's just like that one time you tried to wear that earring, and then it's like that's nothing like when I wore that earring. Cut, and then we cut from that to like a sketch. Do you get what I mean? It's like, so
totally.
that's like sort of like the thought is like the through line that's driving the whole show is it's two squires who are like on a mission to become knights. Now that actually has nothing to do with what the show is. It is just a bunch of absurd sketches. So point being, when we started creating this whole thing, we had no idea what it was going to be.
First off, who came up with the idea? Like, did you turn to Spencer and be like, "Yo, we both love medieval shit"?
Kind of, because
it's from me. Every piece of like, oh, you want to be a filmmaker, you want to start creating content. The beginning advice is make it as easy as possible in the sense of like remove all the props, remove all this. You guys said fuck that. You just went in full medieval. We have to build out set pieces. We have to build out props, costumes.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
100%, and that's like, so that's what I mean by we did everything backwards. Because what you're supposed to do is like come up with a treatment, right? You come up with like a log line, a pitch deck, like, you know, you make a pitch deck, you make a log line, you write this stuff, you cast actors, you come up with shot lists, you do all of the stuff, so that way when you show up, it's like you have no questions about what it is. It's like everybody that's involved knows, hey, this is what this is. It's you create the log line, the through line of what the whole entire show is going to be. So like our log line would be something like two squires on a mission to get knighted, encounter whatever crazy events, and they work through it the best they can. Whatever the
Have you ever seen the show Life in Pieces? It's actually very similar to what your show is, but in like a format way. Basically, it's a sitcom about this family, kind of like Modern Family, where it's the grandpa, then the next generation, then the kids, and the whole thing. But it's just a collection of sketches.
Yes.
And it's very interesting because you're like, oh, I know these characters. I can now just do sketches with these characters.
That's what we're trying to get to, and that wasn't the plan at all when we made it. So that's why it's like been fun, is like it started in my head. So the way it all started was because we didn't do any of that. The whole thought was like, It's so funny how everything came together. So I had this sketch that I wrote like 5 years ago, and it was King Arthur's sword, and the whole concept was, what if when he pulls the sword out, instead of it being like this massive sword and he's now to be knighted, it's like some guy appears and it's like, the prophecy's true, only the man with the smallest penis can pull the dagger from the sword. And then he's like confused because he's holding this little dagger instead of like this mighty sword in the stone. So that was like the first sketch that I wrote for that, was like, what if instead of it being a giant sword, it was a small dagger?
Because you love medieval shit?
Because I love medieval shit. I grew up playing like World of Warcraft and RuneScape. Like I'm a huge dork. I love all of that. Lord of the Rings, read the books, read The Hobbit. Like I'm a big fucking dork. Love anything, like read Game of Thrones, watched all the series. Anything medieval I've like consumed.
Yeah.
And so all of that was sort of like, I wrote one sketch 5 years ago, and then I went to film it, and then I realized I didn't know what I was doing really, where I was like, I started to try to plan how to make it. And this is like 5 years ago. And I was like, oh, I wanted to save this until I like, knew what I was doing more. And then, since that 5 years, I had like worked at a production company for a while. I was a writer for a couple of years so I started to get on sets, and I started to write and be a part and see, and I started to watch my vision, like, things that I wrote come to life on film. And it was like a cool experience of like, I was like learning how to do that world. And I still am not very well versed in it, but it's like I've at least experienced it enough where I went, okay, I think I can take a stab at this one.
Yeah.
And because I did the mistake of like holding on to an idea for too long. Like I think that's not necessarily the world we live in anymore. I think a lot of people want to hold on to like an idea because it's like they go like, there's so much value in this. They get
everyone thinks they're Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, everybody thinks that. Yes,
it's their Pulp Fiction.
Everybody. It's like their magnus opus. They're like, I'm gonna hold on to this idea because it means so much to me that I want to do it the right way. And then the reality is like, we made it. We finally, after 5 years of like sitting on this idea and really having it in the back of my head all the time, whenever we would film anything, I would always be like, I really want to do this one sketch. And then the reality is when we finally made it, it didn't even come out the way I wanted, which is so funny because it's like you build up what this idea is, which is, I think, is another thing. Sorry, I'm going to be all over the place with this one, this whole podcast. But I think that if you hold on to an idea and you don't act on it fast enough, or like if you don't, it's like you can get in love with the idea, but not the product isn't what you're happy with, or you can hold on to it so much that you build up like, this is going to be this thing that it's going to take me to the next level. It's going to be the thing that people know my name now after I put this out. And then the reality is like, you're the only one that feels that way about your own thing. You know what I mean? Like nobody, like you could give a fuck less. If to you right now, there's a musician in downtown New York who's been thinking about a song for 6 years and they're going to release it tomorrow. And guess what? Me and you will never hear it. Yeah. But they've been thinking about it for 6 years. And you have to realize that as the creator, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't get too in love with an idea. Just make it and then make the next thing and make the next thing and then the next. Because it's like, you don't know what's going to be the thing.
Yeah.
You don't know what is going to resonate and what's not. Because we got lucky on the first one that we made, which was, so basically getting back to all of it, right? I had that one King Arthur sketch that I wrote 5 years ago. And I knew when I wrote it that I wanted to wait to make sure it was good. Like I was like, I want to have it turn out well. So I don't want to film it with like me and 3 people and I don't know what I'm doing. Like I wanted to have like a real
And let me stop you real quick. I think it's important to also understand maybe the difference in motivation. When you're saying that you had all of these hopes and dreams for it, was it in its performance or in the actual video itself?
Both.
You were like, in your head, you're like, oh, this pull the dagger from the stone sketch is so funny that it's gonna get Lorne Michaels' attention.
Legitimately, I have an SNL packet, and that was the first one I put in it.
Awesome.
And I was like, "This is my packet. That's my first one."
Yeah.
And that's like the level of confidence I had in it, which was like, when I submit this, that will be the one that debuts everything. And then it's so funny because, so I wanted it to be. I didn't want to get in my own way with it. Like I didn't want to make, it's like anything. Like if I was trying to paint right now, like learn oil painting, I know that the first oil painting I do wouldn't be good compared to if I painted 100 oil paintings. So I had this idea and I want to wait until I know how to oil paint before I paint.
What made this idea so special?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just that I was attached to the concept of it was medieval. I love
Yeah.
all the medieval stuff, and it was different, I guess. So that was the whole motivation of like waiting for a long time to make it. And then so that was the whole motivation.
Do you know what I
part.
think is? It's interesting that you say that because it makes me think like when I watch Off with Their Heads, it definitely has a feel of like an original voice, whereas like how can I put this? You know how sometimes like shows like The Tonight Show or Jimmy Fallon, it's like, oh, it's Mother's Day, we're gonna just do a Mother's Day sketch, and we kind of have to like shoehorn.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys clearly fuck with the medieval shit so heavy, so many of the jokes I think are very fun and unique, and it's interesting. Do you think you had the same voice when you originally wrote it, or you said it changed?
The whole thing changed. I mean, all of it's changed.
The sketch itself, or the whole show, the characters?
So no, I think the sketch remained the same. The show developed based around everything else, though.
Mhm.
So the way that everything came to be was, I had that sketch. In the meantime, worked on a production company, worked as a writer, then started making our own stuff like 2 years ago.
Our own stuff is who?
Our own stuff, Good Girl Studios. Is
Okay,
like
and
when
who's
we
Good Girl Studios?
That's me, Matt Ross, and Jeff Dolezal, and then another guy, Leo De La O, in Florida. We kind of stopped making everything together, but there was a while there where there was like a summer where we put out a bunch of sketches, and they all performed really well.
I remember them. They were all good.
yeah,
I mean, even the original group of sketches, you had like a RuneScape sketch.
Yeah, we had a RuneScape sketch, the medieval clicking game was in the first series of like, we put out a pilot that ended up getting like Cam Patterson and Casey Rocket are in it. It ended up getting like really good reviews and like a lot of traction on YouTube, like 260,000 views or something, which is like incredible for a pilot, you know, like, and we didn't do it the right way. You're not supposed to just put everything on YouTube. You're supposed to like put it through festivals and submit it.
Okay, you keep bringing that up. Let's talk about this right way. What is okay, you're talking the right way based on what? An industry that's dying.
You're right, 100%. Yeah, I'm talking about the way that if I wanted to, if you wanted to make money off of it and not just be creating it because you like creating it, like the right way to do something, right?
I don't even believe that. When was the last person that did it this way with comedy?
A lot of people have.
Recently?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you onesies and twosies. I just know that what they tell you to do, this is like all the advice.
Who's they?
They meaning producers and executives. I've had meetings with people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was talking with literally I had lunch with a producer like 2 weeks
ago. You worked at
ago.
a production company, right?
I did.
I worked at a production company too. And you did that and you thought, oh, all of these people really know what they're doing. They all have taste and they're all going to make great things.
It's not even that, but I knew that they had money. And we don't have money.
Yeah, but I don't buy that you need it. You don't have money and you did this. It's awesome.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying by going like that's like not the way that you're supposed to do it. What I mean by that is that if you want to get financing and you want to get like a big budget, I don't think the best way to do it is create something for YouTube, in the sense that YouTube is, it's like if you accept it, like it's the thought being, you want them to know that you don't want people to see it on YouTube. You want them to see it and you want them to see it on like the silver screen. You want them to see it on TV before you see it on YouTube. So like the whole idea is like the right way, I guess, would be creating a pitch deck, making the pitch deck, filming a pilot, not putting it anywhere, and then submitting that to festivals, sending it to sending it to networks, sending it to producers, sending it to executives, anybody that you know who could potentially get that greenlit and have like a real production company, like an AMC put it out, FX put it out, Netflix, Hulu, like somebody like that, getting meetings with these people. That's like what I think when I say like the right way, that's what I mean.
I know, but I just think that's a dying world.
I agree, which is why we're doing it the way that we're doing it.
Yeah.
But
don't you feel like you have so much more power?
I do. And that's
you're going to do more. You're going to get more done.
I 100% agree. And the issue was always going to be finance, though. Because it's like, the issue is like, when you have a big company backing you, it'd be the amount of sketches that we write that we're like, we just can't make. Because it's like, yeah, how am I going to rent a castle hall and put 200 people in this when I want this big scene of, like we have one where it's whatever. It's like we have one that we wrote where I think is very funny, where it's like a king coming in to give a pump up speech, and it's like I have it in a battlefield and there's 300 people surrounding him, but Spencer and I are in the very back, so we like can't hear a single fucking thing.
Yeah.
And so everybody else is like getting all like and then we're just like in the back, and it's like, in order to make that, I'd have to have like however many extras all the gear, all of everything. I mean, that is such an idea where it's like, that's an idea where we just can't afford to make it the way that I would want to do it.
Yeah.
Where if we did things the quote unquote right way or had budget, that would be like no issue. It'd be like, okay, we have $50,000 to spend on this one thing, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
that's
but
perfect.
what about the idea of once you get that money, it comes with stipulations?
Of course,
You're in
I mean,
golden
of course.
handcuffs.
Yeah, no,
you know
of
what I
course.
mean. You can't
agree.
do a lot of the jokes that you
I agree. Listen,
that earring's gay. I don't know if that one. Would
that
fly.
definitely wouldn't fly. I also hated the editing on that. That's another thing that I was gonna say where we were gonna like. That's a whole thing too, where I've learned so much. But to get back to everything, right? So the reason that we even started putting it together the way that we did, I had that one sketch. I finally, after doing some, was like, you know what? We put out like the last thing we put out was like the Rat, and then with Casey Rocket, and then Cam's Black Magician Afraid of His Own Magic, and then I think we did 2 more episodes after, like 2 more videos after that. But those 2. It really got like they really kind of blew up on YouTube to the point where I was like feeling confident, and then we didn't do anything for like 9 months.
Why?
And I don't know.
Because you're doing it the right way?
No, because not even. I just wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
So then after sitting on it for like 9 months and looking at those numbers and being like, well, this is the obvious thing that's setting us apart when it comes to like content. It's like, so many people are funny. So there's so many comics that are so funny, and they're putting out stand-up all the time. Stand-up is like, it's like really oversaturated right now. And then, so everybody's posting stand-up, and I'm posting stand-up, and then it's doing the same as everybody else, and nothing's changing. You know, I'm not getting anybody. I'm not getting hit up by anybody. I'm not getting messages from management. I'm not getting like any agents who are like, "We're taking you on the road, kid." So then I was like thinking about how like I'm consistently posting things that are getting good numbers, and nothing's changing. I'm not selling tickets. I'm not doing anything. And then we start doing the same thing with the podcast that we do, making clips. They're going viral. I mean, like I had a month there where I think there was a month there where like. There was like 17 million extra. Well, we had like 17 million views on clips in a podcast from our podcast, and our numbers didn't go up by like more than 100 plays. And it's like, so I'm like, okay, that's clearly not resonating with people. Like I'm like trying to figure out what the thing is. So it's like stand-up's not getting us views, the clips aren't getting us views. They're getting us views, but they're not getting us like, it's not changing anything. And then I finally was sick of it because I was like, well, the clear answer is the thing that we've posted that's had the most success out of anything, that's made us money, we had a couple meetings with people who called us about like, you know, what is your intentions with this thing? Like it was like the actual thing where companies were reaching out asking us questions about it. It was the first time that anybody had started hitting us up, was that first like Just Joshing pilot episode with like all the sketches, the original sketch show. So then I was sitting there and I was like, I was just thinking about it after having a meltdown about how I'm going nowhere with my career. I was like, well, I'm just gonna finally make this sketch that I've been wanting. I was like, just to get back into it, let's just start with something that I already have wrote. And I went, who gives a fuck? I know how to make sketches now. Let's do the King Arthur thing. And then I called Spencer Cavins because I wanted Spencer to be in it, just because I think he's a very funny actor, and he's a great actor. He's my friend. He's a very talented comedian. So I was like, hey, do you want to do this sketch? And he was like, oh, that's funny enough. I just went to France, and I personally have been writing a bunch of medieval stuff just because I just went to France, and I was like, this is like a fun idea. So then we just were like, oh, we should film my sketch and one of your sketches and just put them together in like a medieval episode of like the sketch show that I had already done, right? Mm-hmm. So I was going to call it like Just Joshin' episode 4 or whatever and put that out. But then we were on set and we filmed the King Arthur one, and then we filmed one that we're about to put out this week, which is like a Robin Hood sketch, and that was Spencer's idea. And we had so much fun between those two that I was like, dude, fuck doing just a normal sketch show with like, and then making it sort of like, well, it's just Joshin', but it's medieval. I was like, let's create like a real, like we both kind of were like, this is so much fun and unique that it'd be fun to, and both of our passions, like both of our interests. He's a big medieval guy. He's well read on that whole era too. And so we just made those two, and then we were like, this is kind of fun. And the product is turning out like the way that we're liking it. So we then decided to it's so backwards. The whole thing is backwards because we also didn't even really give a shit about anything until I realized I could maybe get some money from the ad. I could maybe get some money because the other stuff generated so many views. I was like, I wonder if I can get like an ad for this. So then I reached out to a bunch of companies, and I heard back from Blue Chew, who was like, we'll do a commercial. They wanted us to like film a commercial for them, and they gave us a couple grand in return, which then funded all of the first the first day of production for the first one, where I was like, oh, this could be self-sustaining. And then we started talking and we were like, well, I know that YouTube wants mid-roll ads. If you get mid-roll ads with YouTube videos, you make like exponentially more. Like it's like it goes from like making like $3 a view per 1,000 views to like $20 per 1,000 views. So it's like, sure, it doesn't sound like that much, but then when you start thinking about, you know, like when you add a zero behind 1,000 views, 10,000 views, now all of a sudden you're getting $200. And so then you get 100,000 views, you're making $2,000. So on top of like an ad that you can read. So now it's like self-sustaining. Now you're not losing money. You're not coming out of pocket. So then we were like, oh, fuck, how do we make this so it's not just 2 one-off sketches that have been combined through it? So then Spencer had the idea of just kind of doing like a quick transition scene of like us talking about like, oh, that's not what happened. This is what happened, which then became like the theme, which is, oh, let's start building the characters. And now we're sort of reverse engineering it, like I said, because we didn't have the intention with any of that when we went into it. We just filmed 2 individual sketches that we were going to put out together.
Yeah.
And then we realized that it's almost more fun to have, like, you know, the characters. Like, it's not just them in absurd situations.
It's 100% more fun.
It's like, yeah, now we can do cutaways where we can eat 2 to 3 minutes of screen time that's all punchy because we can sit there and riff and have fun and make dialogue between us going like, that's not what happened, this is what happened. Or we can have whatever the transition is. It adds extra time on the videos too, but it also creates the dynamic of who the characters are, so you can start doing character development. Like, we just started thinking about this with the later episodes, which is like, okay, so the first one, the theme is kind of like Spencer was sort of bullying me, and I was sort of like this overly confident idiot, right? And so we were like, oh, well, that's the perfect combination. So now we're implementing that with the sketches involved too. So now when you're watching them, you're actually watching, there's like actual thought process between, you know, for motivation for the characters. It's not just like, this is a funny situation. It's like, no, this is how like an overly confident dumb person would act, and this is how somebody who is like, I'm sort of like the little brother. That's like the vibe that my character is like the little brother, and then Spencer is sort of like the know-it-all snobby guy who's like right, but in a way that you're like, there's something about it that I don't always love.
Yeah.
And that's like when he's treating this guy this way, but he always is right, and he kind of like controls the room in a fun way that's like, he's kind of arrogant in a way that he knows, like that's his character. And then between those dynamics, you could build a lot of moments that are funny and like lead into a sketch, and now you know that character is going to be that way for that sketch. It's like a lead-in without it being a lead-in, and none of that, again, was the thought when we started it. We literally just went and like, here's 2 sketches, and then we need to eat 3 minutes so we make more money on YouTube, which then led to me reaching out to an ad company, which then gave us an ad, which then led us going like, okay, now we're a minute short, what should we do? Which then led to us being like, oh, let's just have like a fun back and forth, which now is actually like my favorite part of the show, is creating the dynamic, like having the characters interact when they're not in a sketch, having them sit around and just be like hanging out. It's just like like, what would 2 squires be doing, and like what would they be saying when they're hanging out? And it's like, oh, that's fun to me.
Yeah.
It's like a way to get like it's like a way to get fun interaction that's also like funny and can push the story along, so it's not like you're just watching sketch after sketch after sketch. It's like, no, the through line is we're trying to become knights. You learn about us through this dialogue. We can then lead into sketches that way. We can also lead into an ad that way. We can do whatever we want with it. So it kind of became this formula that we didn't even know it was gonna be. Long story short is, yeah, we had no idea when we were starting to make it. We just both wanted to do 2 medieval sketches, and then the more we were doing it, the more we were like, oh, I have this other idea. And then he was like, I have this other idea. And then I was like, oh, we could fit those together with this. And now since then we've done like 7 or 8 film days, which has like been really fun. I mean, it's so sick. It's been a lot of fun, and it's performing well, which is great. It's like, I'm so happy with all of it. It looks great. The guys that are working on it are incredible. Like, I can't really take credit for like, everybody's talking about how like good it looks and like how good it sounds and everything. It's like, I don't do the sound design. We pay somebody to do sound design. We pay somebody to do the editing. We pay somebody to do, well, Spencer and I edited it, but somebody else does like all the like color grading and, you know, whatever. We're outsourcing things So we're doing what we can do, and then we're paying professionals to do what they can do.
Yeah, but I don't think that takes away from. I mean, you're directing it.
Yes,
you are leading the ship.
Right,
you are
right.
determined. Everything lands on your shoulders. If it's good, if it's bad, it's on your shoulders.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, this is something that you've been really adamant about recently. Is I don't want to do all of those hats because I mean, let's be honest. You do a shit ton of different hats. You're a jack of all trades. You produce for Stuff Island. You produce your own podcast. You direct all these sketches.
Yeah, Look at Dish too. I do all this
Look
stuff
at the Dish
with the other YouTube channel. Yeah, I do like.
But you don't want to do a lot. You don't want to do all of those roles anymore.
It's not that I don't. It's that I have to be realistic of like, you know, like my priority is like the other stuff that I'm working on. Because that's my job. Like my job is like doing the Stuff Island, producing like another podcast and another YouTube channel. Like that's my source of income. So I can't fuck with those. So I have to do everything I can for those. And then when it comes to my stuff, I'm like using the funding that I'm getting from that, the money that I'm getting, any money, instead of like taking it and putting it in my savings account, I'm now taking that money and working with people who know what they're doing. So I don't have to bog myself down with my free time with my other project. It's like I'm coming up with shot lists, but I'm talking to my director photographer before. My DP and I are having conversations. So they're kind of like guiding me in the way of like where this should be going. I envision it, then we communicate, then it comes onto screen, which is then it makes everything more seamless because then it's like Spencer and I are having these conversations. Spencer also does the same thing where by doing less, we're actually doing more. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're getting a better product by doing less because now
specializing.
Yes, exactly. I'm not worrying about while I'm on set trying to act. I'm not worried about if the shot's framed right and is the audio rolling and is the lighting good. It's like, no, we'll hire a gaffer, we'll hire a DP and a camera op, and we'll hire an audio guy and a mixer, and they'll do their jobs. And then Spencer and I can focus on acting and directing. And that's something that I've learned. I learned that the hard way, in the sense that like the first episode that came out, I think Spencer can attest to this too. I'm not trying to speak for him, but like, the first episode, it was well done. Everybody nailed exactly what they needed to do for the production, except for what I felt was like me and Spencer in the terms of like, I was so concerned, and this isn't even on Spencer, it's mainly me. I was so concerned with wanting to make sure everybody else was doing their job the first day that we were filming that I didn't even think about like doing like, is this translating well? Is this funny?
Does it play?
Does it play, and is it good enough that people would want to watch it and and consume it and whatever? And then because of that, I felt like I wasn't stoked with like that King Art, the one that I sat with for 5 years. I wasn't stoked on because I'm like, I was so concerned that day about making sure that like, because it was my first time working with that. It was my first time ever running a crew.
Yeah.
So I was like concerned with like, okay, the camera's rolling, but like, is it in focus? And like just asking stuff I didn't even need to ask, like making sure, hey, that's in focus, right? Hey,
but
are we speeding? Are we doing all?
You do have to ask that. That's the problem. Is you do that because you've been on a set where you've been running yourself and you didn't do that.
Yes. Yeah, but then that's where it becomes like
trust the professionals.
Trusting the professionals.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that first one where we did, I was really happy with how it came out, but like I was disappointed at myself in the sense of like, because Casey Rocket was in that one. Casey's great. He's terrific. He's so funny in it. He's so.
How do you direct Casey Rocket? I don't even know how you would start. You just let him go?
I have like notes. It's so fun when I write because Casey's incredible. He's so funny. He's such a talented actor. He's such a talented comedian. He's like and he's also like a great guy. I don't know if people realize this about like
super nice guy.
Obviously, like I'm sure I know Casey for a fact. I've been with Casey when we like go to a movie or something. People stop him to hang out with. Like he'll hang out and talk to people. Like he's a great guy, genuinely. And so he's such a person that I really love working with because he's also like a big film guy. He loves movies. We talk about movies all the time, and he's so great at like understanding the vision when I talk to him that like I'll write notes, like I'll write lines that I go, this is backup. Like I go, this is if at their minimum, this will push the story forward. But like I'll literally put in asterisks, like have Casey riff here. And so we'll do a take where like we filmed something with him last week that it's so funny. Like he's like an oracle and he's like reading a prophecy. and we wrote what he needs to say just in case, just if all else fails, we have that backup take to push the story along. Just go, in Casey, here's like some beats that I think you should hit. You can make it your own. Like just giving him like 3 or 4 talking points, knowing what he can do.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Like I just was like telling the camera guy or the camera op, I was like, we're just going to roll on him and I'm going to feed him a couple different directions. And Spencer was doing the same thing. We were just feeding him 3 or 4 lines and then go, here's a prompt, roll with it. And he's able to just create these moments because he's so like himself, and like his the way he behaves on stage is like it's like a character, you know? And so being able to just recognize like he's doing this, he knows what he's doing with this voice.
Yeah.
And then just writing like, hey, I'm aware that I'm not egotistical enough to think that like I can write for him. I'm egotistical enough to write a loose idea, and I go, he can figure it. He'll know. It's like he can know off of my idea what he needs to do, and then he does it, and it's like better than I could have wrote.
Now here's something. Casey Rocket, brilliant at riffing, so funny. What about the actors that aren't?
Oh,
that
yeah.
Want to? Well, you say just do the fucking line.
Oh, dude, we haven't ran into it too much.
Yeah.
On this show. In the past, though, like there's some stuff where I've been like, yeah, wait, we could for sure do it, and then you show up and you're like, because that's the thing, though. Everybody's working.
It's a collaborative.
It's collaborative, and everybody's working for free, and we're all trying to just do the same thing. So you can't be too. Like, what am I going to be upset that somebody came over to my house for free to film a sketch and was bad at it, and they took 2 hours out of their day to like read lines and they were bad? It's like you can't get mad at it.
Of course not. No.
But you're like,
I guess
you'd be disappointed.
The mad wouldn't be that you're bad at reading the lines. The mad would be like you aren't reading the lines.
Yeah,
and you're just doing fucking improv that sucks.
And that's sort of what we're trying to avoid because we have ran into that in the past. So like, we are very intentional of like who we're choosing to work with now, which kind of feels,
including with casting.
Casting is like, we talk about that for hours, like who we think we can. I mean, like Spencer will just randomly send me a premise and it's like, I was thinking this person for this thing, and then he'll send it to me, and then I'll be like, yes, and then I'll do the same thing with him, and then like we'll be like, I don't know if this person is actually like good enough to do this role, like whatever. And that's just what you're working with when you're not on it. When you again you have a shoestring budget and you're making everything for, you know, out of your own pocket, where you're like, dude, I can't hire a real actor to nail this line the way I can. But we do have like Ike Rafferty, who's like incredible as well.
Ike's fun. He fucking commits, dude.
He's so good.
You did that one sketch where it was like Spencer was doing stand up.
Yeah, he was like a jester bombing.
He was just in the back. Ike looking at like the executioner, but his face transformed so creepy that I thought, I was like, was there like a special effects going on?
Yeah, no, he's just very good. He's a very good, very talented actor, which is like, that's what you do. You kind of learn from who you've had on in the past, or like watching. Like I watched Ike at the Absolute Show, and every week him and Colton commit to like Colton Jones. They both commit so well to these characters, and I went, oh, they could. If they're doing this in front of like 100 people, they can definitely do it in front of a camera. Yeah. And so that was like the thought with those guys when we've worked with those guys. But yeah, I think that a lot of it, like creating things on a budget has been, I mean, it's like you're saying, it's a blessing and a curse, because it's like, you know, Spencer and I right now could write something. He could call me right now and have an idea, and we could go, oh yeah, let's go film that in the woods tomorrow. You know, we could do that. And we could post it on our platform the platform that I've created, that like, you know, through the Good Girls thing that we've been using. We can post whatever we want, but then the downside of that comes with like, okay, well, I also have to pay rent and eat, and I want it to look a certain way, which means I need to hire people to be able to do the roles, because I can't spend hours learning how to shoot day for night or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. What I'm going to be doing is hiring. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that I can. Anybody who's like wanting to do this type of thing now is like, the biggest thing I've been telling people is like, hire people. Yeah. It's like, there's people whose whole career, like their career goals are like, I want to be a videographer, cinematographer, director, whatever. That's like, there's people who want to do that. That's like what they want to do. Why would you not want to just grab him, somebody who knows about the camera, who knows about shot lists, who knows about, you know, blocking and doing all of these things, like who's been on real sets, and they're willing to take a discounted rate because it's a fun project. It's like, get them. Don't have your girlfriend hold the camera, which is what I used to do. I used to have shout out to Ariel. I love Ariel. I love you so much. But she used to like hold our cameras, and for our other stuff, or like Leo would like run around with our cameras, and he's like a guy. Leo was the guy that we did a bunch of our earlier stuff with. He was he's like an audio engineer first, and it's like, so he's like really talented at sound and like really, and he was like directing our stuff, and he was doing a really incredible job. But then he's also trying to make sure the audio is good and direct and run a camera, and it becomes and block us out, and it becomes quickly like a nightmare where it's like, if you can just take away one of those roles, if he can only focus on sound and directing, his life is so much easier. Hire a camera operator, hire somebody who's going to come out for $150 for a day rate to work with you for 3 hours. You're going to pay $150, sure, but the product is going to be so much better. It's like, why would you take your car if you have to change your oil? Why would you take it to your Uncle Jim, who can do it, when Jiffy Lube is right next door? It's like,
sure. I mean, especially if like the quality of the work looks good.
Yes.
That really matters to you.
Yes, I'm a big.
You want it to look pretty.
It's not even that I want. Yes, I definitely want it to look pretty, but I don't even think that I want to. I think it needs to. Like, I think that there's so much content out there right now being produced currently that like anything you can do to separate yourself as a head of the pack, or like, having the best whatever it is, it's gonna, if I can make somebody stop and watch for an extra 3 seconds because it looks incredible, it looks like an A24 film. That's like a thing that we keep getting, which is just the camera that we use. It's just like a Blackmagic with like a certain lens with a filter on it, and that gives you the A24 look, which is just like kind of like, it's also dreamy, color grade. The dreamy color grade with like, the swirly background. It's like, that's all a lens. But if somebody stops for an extra 3 seconds and that lets that video get pushed out to an extra 10 people because one person stopped for 3 seconds, and that just pattern keeps repeating, that's what you have to do. You have to stand out in some way. And with everybody's fish brain now, everybody's a fucking idiot. Our attention spans are like this. I can't even stay on one topic in this podcast for longer than a fucking 5 seconds without switching because of fish brain. And that's what everybody has. So like, it's not even that I think that like I want it to look pretty. It's like, I think it's almost mandatory. It's like, everybody else is doing iPhone videos too. So if you can go from a level above an iPhone video, you've already gained somebody's attention a little bit more. And then if you can make it, instead of a camera that's better than an iPhone, now you're talking about like you added a light.
But do you
light
think
source?
That's what it is? Do you really think it's because it looks better that's why people are watching?
I don't think it hurts.
No, it doesn't hurt, obviously. But what I'm saying is, like, it seemed to me that you were doing a whole bunch of different things that you were told you were supposed to do. Get a podcast, do crowd work, put up stand-up clips. You're doing all this stuff. And it's like, great, it's good. Clearly, if each video went off and was able to have a viral moment of its own, the quality's there. But what made people start to actually like want to follow you was when you guys did something that was very your own thing.
Right. And I think
you were making sketches that looked good, but people didn't really care as much, I would say, until it's like, wait, what, they're all fucking knight and medieval stuff?
Yeah,
like,
I think it's like,
that's something that only you could do.
I agree, and I think that I get what you mean, and I actually think that it kind of reinforces the point that I'm saying, I guess, in a way where I'm like, you're probably right. It could be lesser of a quality and like the camera quality and whatever. And if we just had the writing the same and we used our whatever, I bet we'd probably still be able to get something because it's like a unique idea.
Yeah.
And this isn't like a gear. I'm not trying to like gear lock people. I'm not trying to say if you don't have a camera. I just think that you can create things, but you also have to put so much intention behind it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you are going to do like a sketch, if you're going to like do a sketch, I really think taking an extra hour to think of a shot list will help you
100%
stand out so much. And then on top of that, if you shot list it and you add like a key light and a fill, so now we're talking another extra hour of work.
I agree with you.
Now you're starting to increase production value, which stops people. They go, I haven't seen this type of thing.
Yes and no. It stops people when they're watching, but it also stops people when they're making it. You held on to a sketch that was basically a dick joke for 5 years because you had this perfectionist idea of what you wanted it to be. And I think a lot of people do that. I know for a fact that I do that. Yeah. My wife is on my ass all the time. She's like, hey, you've been filming the new podcast. Why don't you post an episode. And I'm like, well, I'm going to wait a couple more weeks just so I have a few more stacked up in the back. And it's like, yeah, everything that I'm saying makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's a cope.
Yeah, you just have to start.
Yeah, exactly what it is. Like, you started, you had all this traction, and then you stopped. Why'd you stop? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and you're right.
Because of the perfectionism, I think, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So I think you have to blend that I'm going to do everything that I can to make it look as good as I can. I'm going to put the time in and effort for a shot list and this and that. But it has to go out on Friday. I need a deadline. And I don't think people are deadlining themselves.
They're not. Right now we're on a 3-week posting schedule, which means that, this next week, because we're posting on, I think we're going to be trying to get something out on Wednesday or Thursday. That means that Monday, tomorrow, it's going to be crazy for me. I'm waking up tomorrow early to go, and I'm editing all day.
Forcing you to do it. You have to do it because it's got to go out, and it's going to make it better. It's going to make you guys push you a little bit further.
Yeah, 100%.
I think one of my favorite parts about what you're doing right now is I think it's going to really kind of change things in the Austin comedy scene where people are going to start doing more.
Well, I don't know why anybody is.
They're lazy.
I think we're lazy. I agree, and this isn't like me stroking myself off because like you're saying, I took a break too myself. I mean, we did it and then took a year off break.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy to me that people aren't doing everything they can, right? Like, if you were to talk to a comic, or not even a comic, a screenplay writer, or anybody who has like a creative bone in their body, if you were to talk to like a comic, because this is the world I know, from 1987, and you're like, hey man, in the future, you can like have a radio show, like a podcast, you can create your own, you can have whoever you want on it, you can talk about whatever you want, you can post it to, and as many people want to consume it, is like, you can make it available for anybody who wants to consume it. You can have a show where a sitcom. You can make your own sitcom. You can create your own show right now, film it, and as many people that are interested in watching it will watch it. Like, you can't make people want to watch it, but you can make the product and people can watch it. So then you can do everything to market it yourself. You can do everything you possibly can to get views. People can view it. And you can also post a special whenever you want. And then the person from 1987 will be like, oh, that's incredible. How often are you doing this? And you're like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, sometimes I don't really want to. He'd be like, are you out of your fucking mind? Dude, I'm hustling for 15 years to hopefully get on Carson, Yeah. And instead, you're like having you have at the palm of your hand, you can post whenever you want, whatever you want. And whether or not the audience receives it well isn't, whatever. That's a different conversation. But you have the ability to have a platform and create a platform to post whatever you want. And then instead, I'll like be like, man, I don't know, my tummy hurts. I don't want to edit a clip.
Yeah,
and it's like, are you fucking stupid?
Yeah, or you just like, you kind of like hype yourself up. You're like, oh my God, it's going to be such a long day. Just that can get you to not do it.
It's insane. It's insane. And I think that people should be, I think every comic, because it's not like, I mean, it's not like you couldn't, I mean, they're a bad example because you literally just did this. So I'm saying, like, just in general, it's not like, I don't know, like, take any comic off the street. It's not, I don't know. I'm literally trying to think of somebody who I wouldn't, it's not like Zach Silverman couldn't write something right now and make it good and make it fun. It's just like, he just hasn't.
Yeah. A lot of them haven't.
A lot of people, nobody has. Mm-hmm. It's not just Zach. It's like so many people haven't, but it's not easy, but it's like every person could do it. Yeah. Not even comics. Every person. My dad could just pick up a thing, get a camera, and make something. Like, he could do it. He does. It's just people maybe it's tough because I think it's like an ignorant statement to think that everybody who does stand-up wants to do something like this. But like most people who do stand-up want to do something.
It's kind of like that Mitch Hedberg joke where he goes, stand-up, I got really good at stand-up, and now all of a sudden people are like, can you act? He's like, that's if I like took my whole life and I learned how to be a really great chef, and then they go, do you farm?
Yeah.
I don't have to do everything. You
don't have to do everything. I do know that most comics are sluts for attention, and
they're sluts for attention, and they're fucking hungry, dude. Yeah. Most comics aren't making money. This is a way to make money.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to potential. The goal is obviously like, so the goal that I have right now with the show is really just like, again, just keep building my name as a writer, director, actor, and comic,
That's a lot of things.
Yes.
And I've already said you have a lot of hats.
Yeah.
What's the one that you're like, this is it though? Like, if I had to give everything up, this would be the one I would
love to do just comic in general. Like comedian actor, comedian / actor, because it's like
So are you a guy you want to do the road every weekend, or you want to be like Will Ferrell and you want to be in funny things?
I think if I had to choose, the reality is I would do whatever one came first, like, and then whatever. I would love to do both, but I know that's not a realistic thing. So the reality
I think it
is I think
in our new world, I think all of it is.
You definitely could. I think that if everything works according to plan, which I hope it does, it's like this gets us some type of. We've already had some meetings with I've had some meetings with some producers in LA. So I'm like, hopefully that can kind of steamroll into getting some funding, which then can maybe help us get into, make an actual movie, like a feature, and then from there do whatever that does, get distribution, whatever.
Do you have like a medieval off with their heads feature?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've got a couple things. I've got I've got this one, and you can take this if you're listening. I don't give a fucking shit.
Well,
because I'll never make it.
You want to hear the second half of this conversation? Just go over to my Patreon. All of the second half of the episodes are there, plus a lot more bonus content. It's patreon.com/thejimmyclifford. I'll see you there.